All right. Good morning, everybody, on this very snowy January morning. If everyone could please mute your phones and turn off your cameras during the presentations, that would be much appreciated. My name is Jill Nagy Reynolds, and I'm with the SBA Columbus District Office, and I work primarily with firms that are certified in the SBA 8A program. But I also am the Hub Zone liaison for the district. And so part of what we do is work with a lot of different resource partners to offer training on very important government contracting topics. And we have had the opportunity to partner with the Procurement Technical Assistance Center the last at least several years on monthly training focused on government contracting. So this is the second of a series of trainings that are focused on state government. The importance of all levels of government isn't lost on the SBA, especially for 8A firms that have to do a certain percentage of contracting outside of the 8A programs. So what we are doing today is a special focus on the Ohio Department of Transportation. And we have two wonderful presenters today. I will briefly introduce them, and then they will also introduce themselves when they present. But we have Dan De Niro. He serves as the agency procurement officer for the Ohio Department of Transportation. He's the manager of the purchasing section, as well as the cost accounting and inventory section, and joined the department in February of 2022. So previously, Dan worked for 11 years at the Ohio Department of Public Safety and managed teams in payroll, human resources, and in the fiscal office as the Chief of Revenue Management. He is going to present first, and then he will be followed by Lorraine Stevens. Lorraine Stevens serves as a regional outreach manager for the Office of Outreach under the division of ODI for the Ohio Department of Transportation. Lorraine has been with the division since 2016 and manages outreach efforts in ODOT's districts 5, 6, and 10. In addition to her outreach duties, Lorraine oversees ODI's statewide initiative efforts for Ohio veterans. In both capacities, Lorraine's focus is to assist the minority, women, veteran, and small businesses through the state of Ohio that are interested in doing business with the ODOT by providing educational webinars, one-on-ones, and networking opportunities. So those are our two presenters for today. And we are also going to hear a presentation from Jane Stewart, who is with the Ohio University PTAC in Lake County. And finally, I would also like to let everyone know that my wonderful colleague, Shonda Harris, is also on the presentation today. She will be monitoring the chat. Shonda, do you want to say a few words about yourself? And you're also going to be closing it out. Nothing like putting you on the spot.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Grateful to be here. I'm a BOS like Jill and work with 8A firms, and glad to see so many on the call today. So looking forward to getting a lot of information about ODOT. Thanks.
Very good, thank you. All right, Jane, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Jill. Good morning, everybody. Like Jill said, Jane Stewart. I'm the Associate Director for the Ohio University PTAC, and my office is located at Lakeland Community College. PTAC is funded by the Department of Defense, and our sole goal in life is to help companies get government contracts. We assist with all areas of contracting, from getting registered in the appropriate databases such as sam.gov. We have a daily bid matching program where we can identify keywords that represent what a company offers, and then they receive an email notification of those opportunities once a day. Once you find an opportunity of interest, we can help you through the entire bidding process or proposal development. Thank you, Jonelle. I appreciate that. She just wrote in the chat that she loves our bid matching. Yes, our bid matching is great. It covers all government websites on a federal, state, and local level. If it's out there, you'll get the notification. We can also assist with the various certifications on a federal, state, and local level, and anything else that might come up that you would need help with in regards to government contracting. I'd also like to take a moment and introduce our newest PTAC member, Helene Papson. Helene is covering the Akron area. So say hello, Helene.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more about ODOT myself so I can pass that information along to my clients and future clients.
Excellent. I will put my contact information in the chat feature. Helene, if you could please do so as well. If you have any questions, if you need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Remember, all of our services are prepaid with your tax dollars. With that, back to you, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate it. And I saw a message from a Tony Reynolds. I gotta love those Reynoldses out there. So glad you're on that webinar, Tony. I forgot what I was going to say now. Okay. Now, see, he was thinking the same thing. We got to stick together. Reynolds is actually my maiden name, in case anyone cared. But I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Dan. There's one thing I forgot. If you have questions during the presentation, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, and Shonda's going to monitor the chat, and we'll work on asking the question like when the presenter isn't mid-sentence. So we will try and get to those questions as they come. All right, thank you. Over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Joe. Can you hear me all right?
I can see you and hear you, yes.
Awesome. Great. Well, I'm glad to be here, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and hopefully get going here.
All right, you're on full screen. It looks good.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm glad to be here. My name is Dan De Niro. I'm the agency procurement officer and purchasing manager at ODOT. So just to kind of give you an overview on where we're going today, I think it'll be a little bit shorter than Lorraine, but we're going to go over just kind of a high level introduction.
Your sound is a little bit off.
Okay.
Yeah. It may help if you turn off your camera to save some of the bandwidth, and it may be a little smoother. So if you don't mind.
Okay, now we can't hear you at all.
Yeah, I'm not talking.
Okay.
Hold on. I lost my window to control my sound. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, why don't you say a little bit more?
All right. Well, I'm going to go through some of the requirements for doing business with the state.
That's better.
Okay. Of course, it's worked up until now, so that seems about right. So as we kind of go through, we'll just talk about how businesses can approach ODOT and other state agencies. That'll be a big thing that we discuss, not just ODOT specifically, but the state of Ohio as a whole for contracting opportunities. And then throughout, we'll kind of cover a little bit of what ODOT buys, how and when they purchase throughout the presentation. So like I said, I manage our purchasing team, which we focus primarily on the operating side of things at ODOT. When I say operating, I mean state funds, state dollars, which is primarily spent on goods and services to maintain operations at ODOT and fulfill our agency mission. So this is not the capital side, the capital construction side of ODOT. This is more the operating and state fund side. Some examples, like when I say maintain and operate, that could be snow plows, aggregate, concrete, guardrail, any sort of thing that we are using to maintain the roads across the state. Our unit generally provides oversight and guidance on state procurement rules as well throughout the agency when we work with districts. You'll hear me refer to our 12 districts frequently, and also central office, which is kind of its own operating district here in Columbus. So just to give you some context, we just within my area and our team, we've kind of reviewed and approved over 4,000 requisitions in a year on average. That would be purchase requests, essentially, the process that we use internally to identify our needs and cut purchase orders to vendors and suppliers. In FY22, so our fiscal year 22, again, for context, there was over $250 million of spend on these purchase orders. We also administer the state payment card program on our team, which is more for small dollar purchases, incidentals as needed as we carry out business on a day-to-day basis. But I also just wanted to provide an email address right there on the screen. So this is a shared email within our team. It's a great way to contact us in the future for any sort of purchasing support, and to cover, as I cover more things today, any of these topics we can generally provide assistance with. So we've got multiple sets of eyes on that inbox, and it's usually the quickest way to get in communication with us. As I described kind of with central office and 12 districts, I'll talk a little bit about statewide opportunities and solicitations, as well as how ODOT is a decentralized agency. So each one of these 12 districts really do operate to manage their counties within their district independently. We help them with the purchasing process, but they do have a lot of autonomy in how they operate. When we discuss requests for quotes, some of the common solicitations we do, those can be put out for solicitation by central office, and that would be where my team might be putting that out. We're working with divisions and business units to do that. But each of the 12 districts also would be going through their own solicitation process and using our site to do the same thing. So we'll kind of discuss that as well. So moving forward, just to start kind of from square one, when we talk about requirements to do business with the state, the first thing to be concerned with and make sure that you accomplish is to get registered as a state supplier. This is essentially how you're going to get paid as a vendor. The statewide financial system cannot process a payment to you unless you're a registered supplier in the system. I guess the only exception to that would be payments with a pay card, but that's, again, just small dollar incidentals. This is really where suppliers and vendors need to be registered to really make any progress. Now, if you're not registered, you're not prohibited from bidding on a solicitation with the state. You're basically considered a bidder at that point. You're not a state supplier. And if you were to be awarded a bid, getting registered would be a requirement to move forward, really in any capacity, to get a purchase order cut to you as a supplier. So I provided a link here in the system. I'll just give you a quick view of it, but Ohio Pays is kind of the new rebranded site where businesses can register as a payee. That's kind of the new terminology being used on this site, but essentially a payee can encompass a couple different examples, but for our purposes, and the really most common example is a payee is a registered state supplier. It is an entity that provides goods or services to the state and essentially will be paid by the state for those goods and services. So like I said, the link is here, and I believe these slides will be shared afterwards as well. I just wanted to kind of show you the site quickly. There's a lot of useful information on here. including more information about the site, how to register and update your profile, and eventually receive payment. So kind of just to walk you through that flow, if you are new to doing business with the state of Ohio, I assume some of you might be, there are some steps even within this process. The first one would be to create an OHID. The OHID is essentially going to be your online user ID. That's going to provide you secure access to this system and others. You'll be able to use that single username, that single ID to access the site going forward. And you can associate that OHID with your account on Ohio Pays and basically as you move forward. So once you create that OHID and you register your profile, you'll be able to, and I guess just when you are registering, just make sure you kind of have all of that company information. Generally common things such as you'll need your tax ID number or your EIN. I also like to let people know the primary address that you registered with must match the address on your W-9 form. And then you can also provide your banking account information later so you could receive payments electronically.
Dan, we have a couple of questions that have come through.
Sure.
Doreen wants to know, does this apply to what you're presenting? Does it also apply to the Columbus Airport?
No, not that I'm aware of. This is a state system.
Okay. And also, this particular John has a customer service software development. He's a customer service software developer. Does he need Ohio payroll? My entire team consists of subcontractors.
Does he need Ohio payroll? I'm not sure I'm fully understanding that one. So Ohio Pays is basically for the company to be registered in terms of get registered as a state supplier. So within the state financial system, that company would be they would get one supplier ID to be used if we were to ever go into contract or cut a purchase order to the company. Does that clarify things?
Does that help answer your question, John?
Hi, this is John Zurich in Cincinnati. Not exactly. My question is, do I need payroll employees to qualify for Ohio state contracts? Actual people on a payroll with, annual or weekly, monthly paychecks other
Salaries.
than subcontractors?
Salaries. To my knowledge, no.
Yeah, salaries.
Yeah, to my
Okay.
knowledge, no, that's not a requirement. That is something I can take down though and look further into, but no, to my knowledge, that's not a requirement.
Great. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. All right, well, I will continue moving forward.
Thank you.
And if everyone could
Mashika.
please, yeah, mute your line.
Mashika, if you can put yourself on mute, Mashika Joseph.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was on mute.
That's okay. And the other thing I've seen is, are we going to provide the slides to the attendees? And the slides become available on the OU PTAC website in about a week. Is that correct, Jane? As well as the recording.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Right. Okay, I'll keep going. Okay, so what I'd like to discuss now is more ODOT specific discussing solicitations that we put out ourselves in our own system. We generally refer to these as requests for quote. So RFQ is kind of that acronym we use commonly. We use a system called Ion Wave. And again, it's a kind of another system that I'd recommend getting registered with if you'd like to respond to our solicitations. These are posted by my team at central office as well as the 12 districts. And once you're registered in the system, you can essentially be notified when these requests for quotes are posted. It allows you to ask questions to get more information about what is posted. Last year, I believe we had over 150 awards of these quotes that totaled over $13 million. And this, essentially this site, once you get your company registered, allows similar functionality in Ohio Pays in that you can manage your company profile as well as multiple user profiles. So go ahead and show you. It is pretty straightforward once you start walking through it. This is the home page of the site. Again, this link is right in the slides. And then this button right here will allow you to get registered. This is something my team can also assist you with if you encounter any issues during the registration process. So some best practices that we usually like to share. This system is based on commodity codes. So when quotes and requests for quotes are posted, the business area that's going through that will generally select commodity codes in the system so that we can notify all of the suppliers that meet those commodity codes, you know, that basically state that they could provide that good or service. So the interpretation of those codes can sometimes be a little gray. So we kind of always recommend applying for more commodity codes if you want more notifications. You can always log into the site and see which requests for quotes are posted and available for response. But if you really want that notification, signing up for more codes will assist you in that area. Like I said, there is functionality to submit questions. So if you're at all confused by the specifications that are posted, that is something you can get in there and ask for clarification. I also like to stress the terms and conditions. So if you do get into the system and submit a response, there are some requirements that you'll have to complete as you do that, and acknowledging the state's or Department of Transportation's terms and conditions is a part of that. So just always want to state to read those terms and conditions carefully. There are also some required documentation that we need with a response. One of them is an affirmation and disclosure form that's related to a statewide governor's executive order. And we provide these documentations in the site, we provide the documents, but I really just want to stress to have a valid submission that you do attach these documents. They're really to your benefit. The other one I wanted to discuss in a little bit more detail is the preference certification statement, which is related to the statewide preference program. That program provides preferences essentially to companies that qualify so that they can better compete to contract with the state to supply these goods and services. So I'll give you a little bit more information on this if it's a program you're not familiar with. So, excuse me. The preference program is actually outlined in OAC, which is Ohio Administrative Code, and allows bidders to claim preferences in a procurement solicitation for any of the following things. There are three different preferences that we consider. The first one is generally referred to as Buy America. So this only applies to goods, if not services. So what this is looking for is, are you certifying that the good you would be providing is a domestic source end product? Essentially, any of these end products were mined or produced in the U.S. or manufactured in the U.S. That would be an example of what would qualify for this preference. The next preference is referred to as Buy Ohio. Now, this does apply to goods and services. Generally, these would be anything being offered that are raised, grown, produced, mined, or manufactured in Ohio. There are multiple ways you can qualify for this preference. You could also qualify because you have a significant Ohio economic presence in Ohio. There's also other qualifications if the bidder is from or goods are mined from qualifying border states. Now there is a preference certification form, again, that we provide on the site, and it has a lot more detail explaining how you qualify for these preferences.
Dan, we
The
have a
third-
question.
Sure.
What is the website to sign up for the chat to look at the commodities?
Well, so that's in IonWave. Once you're registered in IonWave, that's where you can see all the commodity codes in the system, and you can select the ones applicable to your company. In terms of the chat, the Q&A functionality, when a request for quote is posted, you can respond directly. You can submit questions directly related to that request for quote. So it's not like a general chat feature within the system. If there is a quote that you feel like you're going to, you could provide a response to, but you need clarification, you can submit questions directly within the IonWave site.
So they need to register with IonWave to get access to the chat. Is that the steps they should take?
Yes, everything for that is within this IonWave system.
So once they do the supplier registration, they get the user ID and password, then once they're inside of it. That's
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, correct. And I guess to even say before that, if there's any questions, issues, concerns with supplier registration, that's something that my team can assist with. And so that email address I provided, you feel free to reach out to us. We can help walk you through this registration process.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Sure. So I'll continue just finishing up the sharing the information on the preferences. The third one is veteran-friendly business enterprise. This is, you would qualify for this if you have an active veteran-friendly business certification with the state of Ohio. That certification there's eligibility and certification process to receive that. Again, there's a link for more information on that. So generally, here's some more information on this preference program on our website. It goes through eligibility requirements. And also there's a link to the Department of Development, which is where that certification is issued out of, which is another agency. So just to kind of explain the benefit of these preferences, these things if you qualify for when you're submitting a response, the way these preferences are applied are essentially a rate that provides a discount on your quoted price. Now, it's not a discount to what you will actually be paid. It's a discount to the price in terms that's considered for scoring for the low bid. So if you were to qualify for one of these preferences, a 5% discount would be applied to your quoted price. And that would be compared to, say, another bidder that didn't qualify for their preference. We would apply a 5% discount, and then therefore, say you submitted the same price as another bidder, but you did qualify for one of these preferences, we would consider your price 5% lower, and therefore it would be considered the low bid. Now, again, for payment purposes, nothing changes. Your submitted quote would be what you would be paid if you were awarded the bid. This is just for scoring purposes when it comes to these preferences. If you qualify for one of these, a 5% discount would be applied. And then if you qualified for two or all three, an additional 2% is applied for the second and third. So if you qualify for all of these, you could have up to 9% discount applied to your submitted quote when it came to scoring purposes.
Dan, we have a couple of questions that have come through on the chat.
Yeah, sure.
One, to clarify, does ODOT have any preferences for the woman-owned small businesses?
So for these purposes, these are the only ones laid out in the Ohio Administrative Code that we consider for quotes for goods and services. There may be some women-owned business programs on the other side, on the capital side, but not for this.
Okay, thank you. And then Mashika wants to know is, I'm sorry, it just jumped, somebody responded. As it relates to calculating the preferences, is that for prime contracts or is that for subcontracts?
Again, that's not quite, that's not what I'm referring to on this side. This would be solely for the company that submitted the quote. That might be on the, yeah.
Yeah, so it's for prime contracts, not sub. So the one,
Yeah.
the company that directly holds the contract with your agency.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, and the last, the email that you had, if somebody has issues with getting into the system, there was an
Yes.
email that goes to your team.
Yes.
When you get a chance, if you can show that.
Sure, yeah, I'll put that in the chat as well.
Okay.
When I get a chance.
Yeah, whenever you get a chance, that's fine.
Yep, absolutely, I'll share that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right.
Looks like somebody put it in there.
Oh, okay, thank you very
Okay.
much.
DOT.sense
CEN purchasing support.
at ODOT.ohio.gov. Yep.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, William.
Appreciate that. I will continue if there are no further questions on this subject.
Real quick, I don't think this is Mashika said, so this, what you're presenting, does this just apply to transportation companies?
No, bidders can claim preference in procurement solicitations for other agencies with this. I can't speak as to how other agencies post their solicitations and collect this information. But this, for goods and services, these would apply for state funded spending.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Just to expand a little bit on ODOT solicitations. So ODOT's a little bit unique. The Ohio Revised Code grants the agency essentially more procurement authority than most other state agencies. Due to the agency mission, we have our own authority to go into contract with suppliers for goods and services, and basically to be able to purchase those things to fulfill the agency mission. So we do have an Office of Contracts that also puts out statewide solicitations that are more widespread than what we're talking about on Ion Wave. I'll show you, this is a website where they post all of the information related to upcoming invitations to bid, upcoming requests for proposals or requests for information. There's also information out here about current ODOT contracts, invitations, and awards. So it's a really useful site that provides information about possible solicitations, and you could also see current contracts that the agency holds. So I'm on this website right here, and just some of the featured resources right on here. Like I discussed, upcoming invitations to bid, upcoming requests for proposals. This is just information, again, as you're starting to see what kind of goods and services ODOT is in need of and what kind of purchases we're making. This is where you can find that information. Okay, I'll move on if there are any other questions on ODOT solicitations. So I also wanted to cover today statewide solicitations, because ODOT is unique in some of the ways we do these things. But the state as a whole also provides another tool that is really for most other state agencies is the primary platform to conduct procurement activities. And given the topic today, I just think this was really important to share, even though it is not ODOT specific. It may be something we adopt more in the future, but right now it's the primary procurement tool for other agencies. So nearly all other state cabinet agencies are onboarded using the Ohio Buys system. And there's, I believe, it says 30 plus, I believe it's up to maybe 50 plus agencies that do business using the site, if you consider all the boards and commissions and smaller entities across the state. So just further on Ohio Buys and the system, again, it's another system that I highly recommend getting registered for. It is a place where you can, as a supplier, provide accurate contact information for your business. You can respond to quotes and public opportunities. Even if you were to go, be awarded one of those opportunities, you can review and acknowledge purchase orders within this system. So it's really robust. It's something other state agencies are using more and more. So there's a little bit of a process flow, just trying to show you how, once you're registered and you gain access, there is a lot of resources out there to assist suppliers on how to best utilize this system. And then you can manage, like I said, a lot of things, your company profile and contacts within this system to make sure you're getting the most out of it. The links provided below are all geared towards suppliers trying to get into this system and utilize it more. I'm not going to click on every link here, but just want to kind of show you, once you're on one of these pages, these are public websites. There's bidder and supplier information, support contact information, information for new users, bidders and suppliers, on how to access the pages. There are webinars that you can sign up for, live scheduled webinars where you can check the schedule, and tons of training material out there for you guys to be able to utilize. Now, like I said, I'm not going to click on every single one of these, but these are all live links to get fact sheets and quick start guides. Another link to the webinar page. I will recommend one of the best ones I can recommend is this one at the bottom, the Ohio Buys Supplier Training Webinar. This is a recorded webinar, so you can watch it whenever works best for you. But this link will take you to the, it's posted on YouTube. I think it's about 25 minutes long, and we'll walk you through a ton of these steps to get started in using the Ohio Buys system. And then if you do watch this video, I would also recommend using the slide deck right here, this bottom link. You'd be able to follow along and have these right now. It provides great information, and basically it would help you and be a good resource if you do watch this video. Got screenshots of how to access the system. Again, you would use your OHID that we discovered earlier. It has contact information if you need further assistance. So that would be one that I would really recommend if you want to get into the Ohio Buy system. Any questions on Ohio Buys before I move on?
Yeah, not necessarily about Ohio Buys, but Janelle wants to know, does ODOT offer opportunities for nonprofit agencies?
As far as I know, if you can provide the goods and services that we're advertising, then I'm not aware of any restrictions on that. That's another one I can take down and try and find out information on, but I'm not aware of any restrictions.
Okay, thank you.
The last topic I wanted to just cover at a high level today is the Minority Business Enterprise, the MBE program. This program is designed to assist minority businesses in obtaining state government contracts that do not involve federal funds. So again, that's kind of along the lines of just in general what I've been covering: state funds for goods and services, personal services as well, and information technology services. Those are the most common areas of spending within this program. Similar to the Veteran Business Enterprise certification for this program is also managed through the Ohio Department of Development. But I did want to emphasize it because it is an important program to ODOT overall. I'll link you to, again, there's another link here with more information on the program as a whole. ODOT, so by law, there is a 15% set aside goal for the MBE program when it comes to state spending, meaning 15% of state spending must be set aside for MBE contracting. So we'll do solicitations that are sheltered. They're called sheltered solicitations, meaning MBE vendors are the only vendors that respond to these solicitations. That is in state law, 15% requirement. And ODOT sets our own internal goal as an agency to really try and meet a 20% set aside goal with this spending in this program for goods and services. So it's just something that's important to the agency as a whole. I wanted to kind of emphasize it here today. There's a lot of benefits to the program. There's contract assistance and management and technical assistance available. Like I said, with the eligibility for us, once you are MBE certified, you're eligible to bid on set aside contracts and then have that opportunity to really compete for the 15% or more percent of state agency spending in that sheltered bidding process. So MBE as a whole is a great program. And again, this information is available on ODOT's website, as well as the Department of Development, which oversees the eligibility and certification process for this.
Dan, we do have a couple of questions.
Sure.
One of them, there has been some confusion with MBE as it relates to the owners of the business, that they need to reside in Ohio and the business itself be based in Ohio. Can you clarify about the owners if they have to reside in Ohio?
Yeah. So I really unfortunately don't think I can provide a lot of clarification on something that specific. My best advice at this point, and we can look again, this is something I can have as a takeaway for myself today to try and find out more. But my best advice, I clicked over to the Department of Development site for the Minority Business Enterprise Program, and they have a whole section on eligibility, along with all of their contacts for the program officers with this.
And
This is
Dan,
not,
I can talk a
yep.
little bit about it as well. I can
I'm sorry.
answer a little bit of the question. This is Lorraine.
Oh, okay. Hey.
So, hi. So, yeah, so the business must be a for-profit business, it has to be, the owner must be a US citizen and an owner must be an Ohio resident. And then the owner has control over the day-to-day operations. Also for qualifications, for eligibility, business owners must be members of one or more of the following groups, such as Black, American Indians, Hispanic, and Asians. So I hope that clarifies some of the
Thank you.
confusion or question.
Yes, I think that answers that one. Thank you,
Mhm.
Lorraine. The second one, what if my business provides a service that the state does not currently use? How would you approach ODOT for a proposal?
Again, I can help with this one as well. There's always new businesses in Ohio, and through the Office of Outreach, we are always willing to meet with these businesses. We kind of get a synopsis of what your business is about, and then we can try to like direct you to the right folks. That way you can go ahead and present what your business is. So definitely contact me. My information will be after my presentation. I'll be happy to meet with you one-on-one.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And it looks like the next one, Eric wants to know, it's going back to, I think this is a couple slides back about the Buy America. If they are a supplier and the manufacturer is also bidding, the probability is also bidding, I guess, on that procurement. The probability is that the manufacturer would outbid the small business. Is there any way to check and to correct this? Is there any way checks that corrects this? Is there any way to correct this? Is there any way to check, to monitor? I guess that this doesn't happen. I guess that's what Eric is trying to ask. As far as a supplier and a manufacturer. Eric, I don't know if that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I'm understanding the question. I think the best, well, I guess the best advice I would have at this point would be the other preferences. If you're a small business and these other preferences or anything that you might qualify for could be what gives you a leg up in that scenario. You know, if you're a local Ohio business, that's where you could qualify for the Buy Ohio preference, where the manufacturer may or may not. Similar to veteran-friendly business enterprises, those are preferences, that might be more specific to your business and not a bigger manufacturer that could be located out of state.
Thank you. Actually, the question relates to, just for example, medical supplies. If the manufacturer is bidding and you are bidding as a small business, obviously the manufacturer has a much more bigger pocket that will, bid at a much more discounted rate. And even if you apply the preferences, of up to 9%, if you calculate that, you may not still be able to compete with the manufacturer's bidding. And so the question was that if there was any checks, like are there any limitation to bidding, or can the manufacturer also bid on a set aside if they claim to be an MBE or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's hard. I guess in general, I mean, it's hard without a specific example to answer a question like that. But in general, I'm not aware of anything that would prevent a manufacturer from also bidding. Now, MBE set aside would be for just set aside MBE suppliers. So in terms of how, I mean, depending on what the solicitation is, if it's just a quote in our Ion Wave system, there's not something that would prevent that. But I can't exactly speak to how it would be handled at other agencies and in Ohio buys. Unfortunately, that's just not something I can speak to that specifically.
Okay, thank you. We have one last question. How would a small business, a contractor pair up with a minority contractor? If they wanted to do subcontracting, how
I
would?
think, I think that goes a little bit more into my presentation. So,
Okay.
yeah, and if you guys just, once we convert over to mine, as we're going through the presentation, I'll be able to answer a lot of your questions.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank
So
you.
Bob, she'll answer that. Just hang on tight and we'll answer that in the next presentation, and that's about to come up here shortly.
What a lively group. This has been
Yeah.
great.
So if there are any additional questions, and you guys have had some wonderful questions for Dan, are there any additional questions on this part? Because we do have another presentation. Great questions, great interaction.
I would just like to touch on Eric's question about manufacturers in terms of federal contracts, like unless that manufacturer also qualifies as small or qualifies in any of the other socioeconomic programs, they would not be able to bid with you. So if you're
That's
asking
specifically
about,
for federal, though,
yes,
just to clarify.
I just wanted to put that in there.
Thank you.
Great point. Great point, Jill. Yeah, it's always good to understand what market and know what market you're dealing with, because sometimes the rules are different. And with ODOT, it is state procurement, although they do get some federal monies for some things. But good question, Jill. Any other questions? No other questions?
All right, Mel, we're transitioning. Lorraine, if you can work on loading your presentation. Oh, there she is.
Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen.
This has been great. I just think that the questions have been really good, and obviously that type of training is needed. So I see a coffee cup. All right.
Yes. I didn't know if anybody wanted to, if we have a, are we taking any kind of break in between time, or you just want me to go ahead and get started? I'm fine with either one.
Let's keep going.
Okay. All righty. So again, hello, everyone. My name is Lorraine Stevens. I will be doing the second part of the presentation of doing business with ODOT. I am the outreach manager in the Office of Outreach for the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion, also known as ODI. I cover Central and Southeast Ohio for Districts 5, 6, and 10. During this presentation, you're going to hear things like level the playing field, foster fairness, and promoting diversity, just to name a few. And this is part of our foundation of our division, and we strive to achieve this. So let's get started. So during the presentation, we have already heard from Dan from the Division of Finance that gave us a brief overview of ODOT and statewide solicitations, preferences, and other valuable finance resources. Thank you, Dan. During this presentation, we'll talk about ODOT's mission, the different types of certifications such as DBE, ACDBE, SBE, EDGE, Mentor Protege Program, how to find ODOT opportunities, ODI resources, updates, and contacts. Now, ODOT is responsible for our state highway infrastructure system. Our mission is to provide easy movement of people from place to place, and a way to do that is to take care of what we have, make our system work better, improve in safety, and enhance capacity. Now, the division of ODI is led by our Deputy Director, Lauren Purdy. The division promotes fair and equitable business practices for both employee and business partners that helps the department fulfill the mission. The division accomplishes its work through the efforts of 3 offices. We have the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity, which is led by Deborah Green. We have the Office of Civil Rights Compliance, which is led by Katie LaPlace. And we have the Office of Outreach, where I'm at, which is led by Lynn Stevens. So next, we're going to look at a short 5-minute video that gives an overview of all 3 of the offices that we just talked about, the division, and an introduction of those offices and our leaders.
My name is Lauren Purdy. I'm the Deputy Director for the Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion. Not everybody starts at the same point in life, and I think that it's our duty, not just as public servants, but human beings, to ensure that people are given a fair opportunity for success. The Division of Opportunity, Diversity, and Inclusion was formed in 2015. The division was formed really because ODOT previously didn't have a centralized division focused on diversity and inclusion initiatives. We had separate program areas. We had the DBE program, Title VI program, ADA program, but there was no centralized area within ODOT that could really champion all of the issues that are included with diversity and inclusion. We realized that this was something that was really needed at ODOT. One of the main goals that we had in creating the division was that we at ODOT needed to take the initiative to reach out and include the community, the small businesses, minority businesses, in what we were doing at ODOT to make sure that they had the knowledge and the tools to be successful. Within the division of ODI, we have 3 offices: the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity, the Office of Civil Rights Compliance, and the Office of Outreach.
My name is Deborah Green. I'm the administrator for the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity. The Office of Business and Economic Opportunity oversees essentially the DBE program. We handle all DBE certification processes. We handle the SBE program as well as the SBE certification process, which is actually a set-aside program. We also handle all goal setting for EDGE and DBE and goal attainment. We have the OJT and DBE supportive services within the office, and we make sure that we report all of our DBE program information to Federal Highway. Those that could benefit from the work that the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity does would be small businesses, specifically women and minority businesses, anyone looking to develop their business in heavy highway construction, as well as those that are looking for construction employment opportunities. The goals and objectives for the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity are essentially level the playing field for anyone who's looking to do business with the heavy highway construction, specifically any contract that's federally assisted. We also, of course, try to encourage and foster the development of construction workers that are minority and women, and that's with our OJT program and as well as our drone training.
My name is Katie Laplace, and I'm the administrator for the Office of Civil Rights Compliance. Well, the Office of Civil Rights Compliance works to ensure that employees are being treated fairly, they're being compensated fairly per prevailing wage laws. The Office of Civil Rights allows employees to ask questions and receive answers regarding their rights while working on a government contract. And lastly, the citizens of Ohio benefit from the Office of Civil Rights Compliance because we ensure that we are being good stewards of tax dollars. The goals and objectives of the Access and Equity section of our office is to promote access and equity throughout the programs and services that ODOT funds by continuing education, providing resources, and open discussions about how we can be more proactive.
I'm Lynn Stevens. I am the administrator of the Office of Outreach. Our Office of Outreach is structured regionally. Basically, we're dividing up the state into 4 regions. So we have outreach managers in each of these regions that handle the outreach in those particular areas of Ohio. So we are in the community, in the regions, meeting with businesses, meeting with individuals who are interested in doing business with ODOT or learning how to do business with ODOT. Our educational sessions, our webinars, our events, such as matchmakers, everything that we do as far as reaching out to the community that is under our jurisdiction in the Office of Outreach. We like to be a one-stop shop for our stakeholders, for our businesses who are looking to do business with ODOT or who are already doing business with ODOT. We can be an initial entry point for small, disadvantaged, minority business owners, large contractors, prime contractors. We can help connect them to the appropriate division, appropriate stakeholders here at ODOT. Also individuals who are looking for employment opportunities.
ODI has had a lot of successes. Probably the biggest success most recently in fall of 2021 was that we received notification from Federal Highway that we were released from our conciliation agreement. And essentially what that means is that Federal Highway believes that not only are we fully compliant with our DBE program, but they have confidence in what we're doing, that we will continue that compliance in the years to come. Another huge success, something I'm very proud of, is of course the Civil Rights Transportation Symposium.
One of our signature outreach events within the ODI division is our annual Civil Rights Transportation Symposium. So our Office of Outreach takes the lead on planning that symposium, which is a great, fantastic opportunity to highlight diversity in the transportation field. We're just excited to bring a plethora of community leaders, governmental leaders, business leaders together to network and learn about what the Ohio Department of Transportation is doing in the area of diversity and inclusion.
When you treat people fairly and equally, everybody benefits. The trust that we have gained from the public, from the community, that we are not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, and we're willing to make changes and to focus on these issues and to do what needs to be done to make a difference.
Wow. Just love that video. So that's a little bit about, who we are. So as we heard from Lynn Stevens, the state of Ohio office is, the ODOT offices are divided into 12 districts. We have Jennifer Kress, which is the Northeast Regional Outreach Manager for districts 4, 11, and 12. We also have Michelle Newman, that is the Outreach Manager for districts 1, 2, and 3, which is our Northwest region. We have Lynn Stevens right now pulling double duty. She is also covering Southwest region for districts 7, 8, and 9. And again, myself for Central and Southeast Ohio, and for districts 5, 6, and 10. So as outreach managers, we provide education on workshops and events, one-on-one meetings. We have webinars on how to do business with ODOT and how to become DBE and SBE certified with ODOT. We provide communication such as promoting projects with DBE or EDGE goals, ODOT SBE set-asides and opportunities for DBE, EDGE, and SBE firms, and to connect with large contractors. We partner with federal, local, and state agencies and business development organizations. So this slide shows the different types of certifications. Applications for DBE and SBE certifications are handled within ODOT in the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity, and the MBE, EDGE, WBE, and VBE certifications are managed by the Department of Development. All of these, as in Dan's slides, these are all active links, so you can click on every single one of them when you get a copy. Just open them up, find out to see about the different qualifications and if you meet those. So now we're going to talk about the DBE certification program. The DBE program was established to remedy discrimination on federally assisted projects and to level the playing field and provide fair opportunities to compete for federally funded transportation contracts. The Office of Business and Economic Opportunity handles both the DBE goal setting and goal attainment. DBE has a current goal of 15.7% of federally funded highway construction and design contracts for federal fiscal year 23, 24, and 25. DBE development goals are on federally funded consultant contracts. An example of one of the development goals in the program is to grow certified firms and assist them in becoming prime consultants and eventually graduating from the program. In federal fiscal year 22, DBEs were awarded $159 million in federal funds. ODOT's prime contractors and prime consultants awarded or committed $121 million in federal funds to DB subcontractors, subconsultants, and suppliers. ODOT awarded $37 million in federal funds to DBE primes. Again, the main objective of the DBE program is to ensure that the DBE can compete fairly for federally funded transportation related projects, to ensure that only eligible firms participate as DBEs, and to assist the DBE firms in competing outside the DBE program. Primarily, there are 3 DOT operating administrations which are involved in the DBE program. They are the Federal Highway Administration, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the Federal Transit Administration. The DOT DBE program is carried out by the state and local transportation agencies under the rules and guidelines under the Code of Federal Regulation. So any agency that receives federal funding can have a DBE goal, such as ODOT, and local LED, which is local public agencies that receive money from ODOT for local cities and local counties. Transit systems such as CODA, Greater Cleveland, RTA, Metro, and TARTA, Royal Transit. Airports such as John Glenn International, Cleveland Hopkins, Dayton International, and interstate certifications that do highway business with surrounding states. Now we will cover the certification process. In general, to be eligible for the DBE program, persons must own 51% of a small business, establish that they are socially and economically disadvantaged within the meaning of DOT regulations, and prove they control their business. You will need to meet the size standards defined by SBA standards, and you must have a net worth of less than 1.32 million and must be an independent business. The department presumes certain groups are disadvantaged as the ones listed here, or other minorities found to be disadvantaged by the U.S. Small Business Administration. Persons who are not members of the above groups and own and control their business may also be eligible if they establish their social and economic disadvantage. DBE eligibility criteria is made on a case-by-case basis. More information can be found in the Appendix D to 49 CFR and Part 26. Now, this is a snapshot of the DBE application site where you will start your application process. If you have questions anytime throughout the process, you can contact one of your region's outreach manager. We're happy to sit with you one-on-one. So you can review the application checklist located on the application prior to submitting to ensure that you have included all required documentation, to include your NAICS code descriptor request form and the personal net worth statement. You can download a copy of the completed Unified Certification Application Submission Form and save it to your files along with a copy of anything else you submit with your application. Completed certification application forms, and so once you complete everything, so you can use this link. This is actually an active link that you can use. And just to make sure that you include your NAICS code descriptor request form and your personal net worth and other required supporting documentation. You can attach all your required and optional supporting documentation in one PDF, or you can do it in a separate PDF. If there isn't enough room, there's also this additional submittal link here for additional documentation. Using the following links is the most secured way of uploading and sending your documentation. So DBE certification process timelines. So the intake review, once you send in all your documentation, the certifying agency must request missing required documents within 30 days of your submission. Within 30 days of desk review, additional information may be requested by the analyst. And then if the file is deemed complete, on-site visits will be scheduled. So during COVID, they've done more virtual, but in time, they probably will be going back out to, in person. Your clock of 90 days start once they receive all your documentation. So it's very important that you're looking through your application, looking through your checklist, and getting all of the supporting documentation that you need. If you have any questions, outreach managers are your best resource. So we are a liaison between you and the certification office, and we're happy to walk you through the whole complete application process. So congratulations. Now that you're certified, now what? How do you locate those opportunities and keep your certification? So once you are DBE certified, you will remain certified as long as you meet the eligibility requirements. And you also must submit a notice of change within 30 days of change if something does change within your firm. And every year on your anniversary date, an annual no change declaration must be submitted. Interstate DBE certification. A firm must initially obtain certification in their home state first. Once a firm is certified, its owners can seek DBE certifications in other states. And that's why I said that if you're applying for DBE certification and you're uploading all your documents, keep all of that information, in one location. So if you do want to venture out and apply for your DBE certification in another state, you have all of that stuff already together. And to apply in Ohio, if you are an out-of-state firm and you want to apply for DBE, then again, using that documentation, you'll need to have that when you're applying for Ohio certification. So airport concession DBE, ACDBE. An airport concession DBE is a business that is located and engaged in the sale of goods or services. The following list businesses that does not need to maintain an office could be like a management contract, subcontracts, a web-based or other electronic business, and a terminal which passengers can access at the terminal, an advertising business that provides advertising, a business that provides goods and services to concessionaire. So to apply for the ACDBE, you will need to have a 3-year average gross receipt cap of 56.42 million. The following types of businesses have size standards that can differ, such as banks and financial institutions, car rental companies, and automobile dealers. If you go to apply on the application, the UCP application that we went through earlier, you will check on page 5 at the top, you'll check that, and then you'll complete the application in section 5 on page 13. So do we have any questions about the DBE certification?
We do have some questions. One of them about the DBE and then another about something else. Rondi is, it jumps when you ask. Rondi has been certified for a while. And can't seem to get any work with ODOT, and just wanted to know if there was someone that could assist her in perhaps finding some opportunities.
Yes, most definitely. So at the very end of the presentation, we'll go back to the map with all of the outreach managers. I can put my information in the chat when I get done with this presentation as well. You can contact me or your regional outreach manager. We'll be happy to help you locate those opportunities one-on-one. And then we have quarterly, you're certified now what, webinars. And so we have a slew of information that can help you throughout this presentation, and contact us for sure.
Okay, and we have 2 more. So are DBE and SBE, are those specific to ODOT or federally funded projects?
Federally funded.
Federally funded projects. Okay. And if a company was MBE and EDGE certified throughout the state of Ohio, this certification does not apply as cross certification for DBE or SBE certification.
No, it's a totally different certification. If you want more information on how to apply for the DBE or the SBE certification, please contact your regional outreach manager. Again, we can walk you through that application, but it doesn't convert over.
Okay, and I think this question kind of came from when you played the video. And I don't know if you want to wait on this, but Eric wanted to see if you could shed more light and give some more information on how the matchmaking service is set up for DBE firms.
Okay, so yeah, so we have a matchmaker every year. If you get onto the newsletter, you can definitely be invited to that. So every year we get together, we contact all of our prime companies out there. We have our ODOTers that come in from all of the districts as well. and we set up appointment times, and it's almost like a dating service. You know, after the timer goes off, you go to the next one. So we kind of try to match who you would like to speak with the primes. So, and it's by appointment. And it's a really huge event. We would love for you to participate in that.
Okay, is ODOT, are you planning another matchmaking event
year.
for your firms this year? Do you know when the date?
It is usually in the summer.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, but if they sign up for your newsletter, they can get it and they'll
Yes.
have that information. Okay,
Yes.
great. Another question snuck in here. How many employees do you have to be less? How many employees do you have to be less than to be considered SBE?
So I don't think it's, so you have to be able, so the guidelines for the SBE. So bring this down here to answer your question. So the SBE program, it's a race gender neutral. So you still have to have, so go back to the guidelines. So a firm, including its affiliates, must have an average and annual receipts of no more than 15 million. So, and then for construction, and then 7 million for construction related consultant services. So it's not by, it's more of dollar amount and not size of your employees or how many employees that you have. But you do need to be able to, let's see. So yeah, it hasn't had nothing to do with
The amount of employees. It's based on
right.
your gross receipts of your company.
Yes.
Okay, and the
other,
last, how do you?
and other qualifications too as well. And I'll be happy, again, if you want to reach out to me, I'll be happy to go through each certification requirements. And again, so when you get these slides, you can go back to the previous slides, and you can look at each one of the qualifications to see if you're eligible for those. So all of these are active links.
Okay, and then how do you sign up to receive your newsletter?
You're going to go onto our website, and it will be covered in this presentation as well.
Okay, it's coming up. All right.
Shonda,
Yes.
I just wanted to shamelessly plug the Ohio Business Matchmaker as well.
Oh, yes.
In terms of meeting potential teaming partners, mentors, the SBA partners with the Ohio Department of Development for the Ohio Business Matchmaker every year. It's going to be on May 3rd and 4th at the Nutter Center in Dayton. And it includes, we've always had participation from the Department of Transportation there. So in addition to the Department of Transportation, there's a lot of federal agencies that are represented, state agencies, and cities and counties. So we're in the planning stages of that right now, but you can mark your calendar for May 3rd and 4th. It's Small Business Week. So that's a great opportunity to network and get your name out there to government agencies. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, so if there is no more questions, we could go ahead and move on to SBE certification. So SBE, Small Business Enterprise, is a race gender neutral set aside program and will be responsible for at least 30% of the total cost of contract for its own workforce. So the SBE is, you must be pre-qualified at time of bid, and you must be able to perform or exercise responsibility at least 30% of the total cost of the contract with its own workforce. I want you to note, though, the SBE certification will provide no benefit to firms that do not intend to participate in ODOT contracting and consulting activities as prime contractors. So if you say that you are driving a truck and there would be no reason for you to apply for the SBE Enterprise because it will be no benefit to you. Only businesses that can perform 30% of the contract that it bids on. And then the Small Business Enterprise Program, it was established to ensure that the small businesses receive fair opportunity to participate in ODOT contracts and consulting services. It's a set-aside program, and it's for projects under 2 million. So SBE qualifications. To be certified as an SBE, a firm must be an independent small business owned and controlled by an individual or multiple individuals having personal net worth of less than 1.32 million and a gross income that cannot exceed 350,000 based on an average 3-year on personal federal tax return. And then meet gross receipt cap for a year average and be a for-profit firm. So I know we talked about it a little bit before, but here's just a little bit more about the qualifications. SBE certification process. So again, all of these links are active. So you can click on the following link that will take you to the SBE application. You will need to include both 3 years of federal business and personal taxes to include your personal net worth form as well. An on-site visit will be required, just the same as the DBE, either in person or virtual. So set aside projects. Go ahead.
We do have a question. Todd wants to know, he has 2 companies and wants to know, can you have the DBE and SBE certification if you have 2 different companies, 2 entities? Can both of them be certified? He has a union construction company and also a non-union flooring company. So it's one owner, but he has 2 separate entities. Can both of them receive DBE or SBE?
Okay, so it's 2 companies, not one company that does multi things underneath there. So the DBE certification analyst and that team is the one who dictates, you know, your gross amount of dollar amounts that you're receiving. So they make the final determination in that. Again, if you go back to the DBE, so again, so let's go back to DBE. I'm so sorry. So right here for eligibility guidelines. So presumes socially and economically disadvantaged owner, presumes socially and economically disadvantaged must manage and control the DBE application firm, and then must be the size standards. So with those 2 businesses combined, because you can have those businesses, you can own real estate, but if they go past this personal net worth to exceed the 1.32 million, then, you know, then you could be, you know, too big to be qualified. So again, I would just make sure that you fell underneath these guidelines. Owning 2 companies is fine. It's just making sure that you follow, you know, the dollar amounts. So that's what I would worry about more. You can always apply, and we can walk through your application together and work more on that and submit it through and even talk to a certification analyst.
Okay, and I believe she will be providing, Lorraine will be providing her contact information at the end. So Janelle, you'll see that at the end. There is another, 2 quick questions that came in.
Okay.
Will you be covering the pre-qualification? I think you have a pre-qualification program. Will you be covering that in the presentation?
I think we'll touch on it.
Okay, all right, so we'll wait for that, Patricia. And then if a product supplier, if somebody supplies lighting, I guess rods, but does not typically do installations, can they be SBE?
So if you're bidding on a contract, you know, that's 30% of that job. So if it's showing that, so based off of that job and that size and what determines, you know, that set aside, you know, that's something that you would have to go in there and look at depending on, again, if you're performing 30% of that job and you're only saying that, you know, you hold, you know, you are a just owning the items itself and not installing them. I don't I'm not sure if that would qualify or not, but again, we can talk one-on-one and we can also reach out to the certification team. But again, you have to make sure that if any job that you're bidding on, if you can't perform 30% of that, then there's no reason to apply for it, for the SBE certification. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the SBE set-aside projects and a little bit of information there, and it might clear up some of the questions with that as well, if you'd like.
Great, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So SBE set-aside projects, as required by federal regulation, the SBE program restricts competition for prime contracts on certain federally assisted projects to small businesses that have been certified through the program. The SBE program staff is dedicated to facilitating opportunities for small businesses and identifying and removing obstacles to participating SBEs. So here are some of the examples of SBE projects, such as bridge repair, bridge replacement, 2 or 4 lane resurfacing, culvert replacement, or repair. So there are 2 different types of set-aside projects. They are set-aside projects for contracts, and then there's set-aside projects for consultant services. So on this link right here, which is an active link, the following link will take you to where the site is, and you can find information about both SBE set-asides for, again, the contracts or consultant services. So SBE set-aside projects for contracts. So you will need to be pre-qualified and, again, able to perform at least 30% of the work on the project. So your firm must be pre-qualified with ODOT at the time of bid, and the SBE certified contractor awarded, again, you will have to be able to self-perform at least 30% of the work. And then bidders will use expedite bid to fill out the bids and then use the bids online. Again, I would click on this link right here just to find out more about the set-aside projects. So the department uses the Bid Express website as an official repository for electronic bid submitters. Bidders must prepare their bids electronically using project bids and submitted via Bid Express. So SBE set-aside projects for consultant services are administered by the Office of Consultant Services and are incorporated into that office's usual program of projects for consultants, such as IE programmatics. At the Office of Consultant Services webpage, you can locate future programmatics by clicking on the future consultant program and selection schedule. And for more information, you can reference the following link. So again, questions about being pre-qualified for either the consultant side or the contract side, I would suggest going on both of those websites. Those are 2 different entities or 2 different divisions that handle that. And then they will be able to assist with that. Again, you can send me over your information and then I can contact them as well. So before we move on to Edge, I just want to make sure that we don't have any more questions about the SBE set-asides.
No, we don't have any questions. Thank you.
All right, encouraging diversity, growth, and equity, the EDGE program. So EDGE is an assistance program for economically and socially disadvantaged business enterprise. The program establishes goals for state agencies, boards, and commissions in awarding contracts to certified EDGE eligible businesses. EDGE applies to procurement of supplies and services, professional services, information technology services, construction, and professional design services. So ODOT's goal is 5% of highway construction and design contracts that are 100% state funded, such as bridge repair, highway lighting, resurfacing, and design services. The EDGE program is a socially disadvantaged requirement includes race, ethnic origin, gender, physical or mental disabilities, or long-term residency in an environment isolated from mainstream Ohio society. So economically disadvantaged criteria includes both of the following: personal net worth of each owner not to exceed $250,000, Personal net worth of each owner not to exceed $750,000 during participation, and fair market value of all assets must not exceed $4 million. So this program is mandated by the Department of Development, and I've included a link for the website and a link to locate EDGE bid announcements. So there are many benefits to obtaining the EDGE certification, such as procurement preference, financial and bonding assistance, and management and technical assistance. So how to locate ODOT opportunities. We have discussed both DBE, EDGE, and SBE certification and SBE set-asides. We will now discuss locating ODOT opportunities and how the certification relates to these opportunities. So how to locate construction project opportunities. So by clicking the following link at the top of the slide, it will take you to a new bidding construction project site that consists of quick links, notices, and resources for construction projects. You can also subscribe to plan holders list and design build consultant information that will come directly to your email as well. So this will, such as construction projects, is led by the Office of Contracts, And then on the following page, you will find a slew of information again, and we won't cover everything, but here you'll find bidding documents, pre-bid questions, upcoming projects, and sold projects. This is the new website. Maybe some of you might be familiar with the old way that they did it, but this is the brand new website, and I want to make sure that I shared this with you. And this has a lot more information on it, and at the flow, it seems to be a lot better in finding and locating opportunities. So contract support and resource. So this is at the bottom of the same site, and you can find bidding resources as well. Again, the department uses the Bid Express website as an official repository for electronic bid submittal. Bidders must prepare their bids electronically using project bids and submit via Bid Express. So programmatics. Are we good to go ahead and move on to this?
Yes, we have something about pre-qualification, but I'm waiting till you come to that, and then we'll ask that question.
Okay. So again, if for pre-qualification, so either whether it be for bidding for contracts or procure or for consultant services, I would contact them for your bidding qualifications or pre-bid qualifications. Again, you can contact me, and then we can contact them as well and get all that information for you.
Now, if a company was pre-qualified with ODOT several years ago, do they need to reapply for pre-qualification every year?
You know, I am not sure about that, but I will be happy to get back to you on that. We can go back and contact this person, right? Because I can't see the actual question.
Yeah,
so
you can get their name. Yeah, let me write it down for Jane. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, and we will definitely get together and we'll talk about the pre-qualifications and what the eligibility is, and if you have to reapply every single year. So programmatics. Now that we're going to transition to consultant services and give a brief overview of the programmatic that outlines our anticipated consultant projects. So just a note, this is different from contracts. Here you can locate consultant opportunities. By clicking the following site, you can see a list of future programmatics, which are broken down by date and are subject to change. So you can click on any of these following. Now, these are not active links. You will have to go to this link right here, but this is how it's going to look. These are the future programmatics currently right now. Now, this information right here was taken from January's programmatics. So the LOIs, they're not currently taking any letters of interest for these. These are just from the previous ones. So in this one right here, I just wanted to show you an example of what it looked like. You have your DBE type or your gold type, you have the EDGE, you have the DBE, and you have the SBE set aside. Depending on your your certification, you can go in here and look through those and then find those opportunities that way as well. So, and we've talked about how there are several ways to find opportunities and how your firm can do business with ODOT. And it depends on the work that you would like to provide. So firms performing personal service related to the design inspection of heavy highway projects, for example, will work with ODOT's Office of Consultant Services, and construction firms, meanwhile, will work with Office of Contracts. So ODOT MBE set aside contract opportunities. And I know Dan talked a little bit about this too, but I just wanted to include a little bit of this into my presentation as well. So this is an example of MBE set-asides that are contract opportunities with ODOT. We've seen this on Dan's slide that he brought up actively. You can find them, and for ODOT opportunities for the set-asides, you can actually take a look at and find the 800 series of our whole contract portfolio. If you see any services that your company provides, please reach out to me or your region outreach manager, and we'll be happy to help direct you on becoming a potential vendor to provide these services for ODOT. And right here, all these 800 series is all the current contracts for MBEs. So non-DBE opportunities with ODOT. So some companies don't qualify for nothing on here that we've talked about, but there is opportunity, or you qualify for one or not the other. So I just wanted to show you non-DBE opportunities with ODOT and how to locate those. So there are also opportunities through the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. And I've got the active link right there. So the ODOT facility projects might include renovation, replacement of headquarters, full service facilities, outposts, rest areas, salt barns, etc. And then the procurement office was discussed previously as well with Dan. The Office of Procurement Services provide a centralized procurement service to all the state and local agencies, as well as support to all state suppliers. And then we also have the link here for the State of Ohio IT staff augmentation. So this program is used by the state and other public sector organizations as a preferred method for procuring hourly time and material resources. This is for IT related companies that can provide supplemental staff to state agencies for IT services. So these are all really great links as well to locate opportunities depending on the type of business that you have. So mentor protege. So the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Mentor Protege program is led by Micah Flanagan. The program was established in 1999 to foster a more competitive environment for ODOT projects by building a broader base of DBEs able to perform work on highway construction projects. The program's immediate objective is to strengthen the long-term stability of DBE firms by focusing the resources on those critical business skills that contractors need to compete. So the goals are to enhance the business skills of DBE firms, to broaden the base of DBE firms' construction activity, and to build long-term stability of DBE firms. So what is the program? With assistance with representatives from the OCA and the ACEC, ODOT solicits individuals to participate as mentors. To facilitate a successful working relationship between the mentor and the protege, ODOT will attempt not to pair any industry competitors together unless, either the mentor or protege requests it. Admission to the ODOT Mentor Protege Program is by application. Once accepted, each protege is paired with a mentor. Working together, the mentor focuses on assisting the protege in developing a business plan, developing marketing strategies, understanding financial statements, and identifying and implementing other action items needed to meet the protege's firm's goals. This project can be both construction and consulting firms. So for more information on the program and how you can participate, you can either click on the link or either reach out to Micah by phone or email. And by clicking on her link right there, it'll take you to her email. Or the link right here will also take you to the website. So if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and move on to ODI resources. So ODI resources. So by visiting the Office of Outreach page, you can sign up to receive bid opportunities with goals, our monthly newsletter, locating upcoming webinars, and our contact information. And again, these links are live. You can also, at the bottom of our page, it includes additional resources as shown here. So right here, so our small business resource library, if you click on that, it's going to take you to this page right here. So our business library is a great resource. It's new, and it's for new. If you are new being a small business or want to enhance your small business, you may want to review our ODOT State Business Library. It's just got so much information. It's got videos and how-tos. So you can learn about requirements, pre-qualifications, as we talked before, certification processes, and bidding. Great resources in providing videos, questions, and answers. And then if you have an idea for an additional video, you can email the outreach@dot.ohio.gov. And then right here is the link that's going to take you to that site. So it's going to give you a great amount of information about your business. So another great source that we have, and this is if you're DBE certified, you can connect with CEI for supportive services and development of your business. The resources offered through supportive services under, again, the Office of Business and Economic Opportunity. This is a free service and helps with items such as marketing your business, ODOT contracts and compliance, basic estimating, your business plan, DBE needs, cost estimating. They help with your elevator speech, action plan, SWOT analysis. They do everything. So yeah, if you are DBE certified, you are eligible to participate with the CEI. And right here is their phone number and their email address. So now let's take a look at ODI updates. So I know in the video that Lauren, our deputy director, talked about our civil rights transportation symposium that we have every year annually. We've recently changed that, and we are now having that every other year. So this year we are planning our very first Ohio MBE Expo. So we're pretty excited about that. We will host the inaugural Ohio MBE Expo at the Ohio Expo Center and Fairgrounds in Columbus. We're tentatively looking at mid-June. Working on a confirmed date right now, but we're very excited about that. We also have the Brent Spence Bridge project, and that is $2.8 billion, and we're currently working on setting the goals for that for DBE. So ODI contacts. So your region outreach manager is your central contact to all things related to doing business with the ODOT. Again, we are a liaison between you and the certification office, and you can reach out to the outreach at ODOT.ohio.gov, or you can contact your region's outreach manager as well. So again, please feel free to contact us, and if you have any other questions, I'll go ahead and stay online.
Yes, we do. A lot of great information. Janelle was really interested in the Mentor Protege program. And I have a question about that. She didn't, but just said it looks like it's a great program. We also have a program, but do you assign mentors to proteges, or do you match up a protege with a mentor, or is that the responsibility of the small business, of the firm?
No. So we've already reached out, so with the partnerships and providing these primes. So when it's all based off the need. So when the DBE fills out the application. They are going to, or the small business is going to fill out the application. They're going to annotate on that application what they're kind of looking for. And I think they kind of match it that way. Again, I don't run the program. That's Micah Flanagan. I would reach out to her or go into that website for correct, more further clarification on that program. But yes, I agree. It is a great program and not utilized enough.
Okay, and I think Gertrudis has a question about does ODOT for the DBE program still provide reimbursements to certified businesses? And I think it's for the what's the program you just talked about?
Services. The
Yeah,
supportive services.
services.
So Micah was in charge of that as well. And currently we are not doing the reimbursement program.
Okay, for certain. Okay. And also you were going to show where they could go to sign up for the newsletter.
Yes. So right here. So back to our contact information page. This is where you're going to locate it. So you're going to go to Outreach, the Ohio Department of Transportation, and that's where you're going to be able to locate the newsletter. So I can go ahead and click on that site as well.
We have enough time.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see if I can bring this up quickly. Put it up on the wrong side. Are you guys all able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, so right down here is where you're going to be able to sign up for our newsletter. So right here for bid opportunities, newsletters, you're going to put your email address in there and then your name, and then you're going to submit which region you're looking for the newsletter. So, and it's every month. The first Wednesday of every month, you'll receive that. And it's got great information. Not only do we have our information about our upcoming webinars and what we're doing, we also, bring in other agencies, that are having some great things, and we put that on there as well. Just to ensure that, everybody that's getting this newsletter is getting the most up-to-date and relevant information, regardless of where it's coming from and what agency.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that demonstration. Mansoor has a question.
Okay.
Is the Mentor Protege program just for DBE certified firms, or is it open to non-DBE certified firms?
I'm pretty sure it's DBE, and I'm so sorry that I would say yes, that it's a DBE firm that's going to be matched up to a prime, because under that office, that is what they're dealing with. So we can confirm with Micah, but yes, I think you have to be certified as DBE to participate in the Mentor Protege. Okay.
Wonderful. All right, here's another question that just came through. John Palmer has a Virginia-based company, and they are just completing a $3.7 billion, a PPP project for the ODOT in Virginia. And they provided Q&A inspection, construction management services. They are interested in providing their construction management services for the Brent Spence Bridge project.
Mm-hmm.
Who would they contact if they're interested in participating in that project?
So yeah, they can definitely reach out to us. Lynn Stevens is actually heading the outreach for the Brent Spence and doing the DBE goals that's going to be attached to that. So yeah, reach out to us and we'll be happy to provide you information. Again, with our monthly newsletters, it will have information in there for upcoming events for Brent Spence as well.
Okay, could you put back on the screen that slide with all of the managers and their contact information?
Yes. Awesome. So that's what I have right here. So recently, James Scales has
you had on the slide, not on your website.
Okay.
Yeah, the slide has it.
Go ahead. That's okay. Thank you.
There it is. Okay, there's Lynn's information, John.
Yes.
Great questions.
If you have any more, you think of anything, again, I'll include my my information, and they're going to be sending out these slides. And I think this is recorded, correct?
It is, right, correct.
Okay, so yeah, you could always reach out to any of the outreach managers that fall up underneath your region, or you can contact myself, or you can go directly to Administrator Lynn Stevens. She is a wealth of knowledge and has been doing outreach for so long and is our subject matter expert.
Okay, I'm gonna turn. So if there are no additional questions, definitely want to thank both Lorraine and Dan for doing a fantastic job. A lot of information. I always learn something new. And it's been a while since I've been on a webinar doing business with ODOT, but always good to see. I think it's important as small businesses, especially when you're doing business with different government entities, the devil's always going to be in the details. So understanding the rules and regulations, especially when you have the certifications, and understanding, you know, what are there going to be stipulations around certain amount of percentage of you doing the work, performing the work, if you have a certification, because you may qualify, but on the SBE certification, you have to perform like 30% of the work. So that really is important that you do know that if you're doing business with ODOT or any contract that you're performing on, having an understanding of how everything operates. So both Dan and Lorraine did an awesome job today. And then also all of the participants, great interaction, great engagement, great questions. And as Lorraine said, and as we mentioned, this is recorded. It will be posted. It usually takes about a week to finalize the recording. Both the recording and a link for the slides will be posted on the OUP Tech site. So Jane, if you could do the honors and put the link in the chat where everybody can visit. If you go to the OUP Tech's website, they do have a link for resources. So if you go actually to their resources page, which is Ohio PTech, ptech.ohio.edu, but Jane, isn't there once they're on your site, I believe there's a resources tab at the top of the page, is that correct? And once you go to that resources tab, all of the webinars that we have been partnering for this year, starting in October, and then I do believe last year, they are all posted on the website. So tons of great information. You can always go back and reference that. I actually refer small businesses to some of those presentations that we did. In fact, we had a mentor protege one that we did last year for the matchmaker, which was really fantastic. So I always want to utilize that as a there we go, as a resource. So if you visit the OUP Tech site, ptech.ohio.edu/training videos. So this will be posted there, and the slides, as well as all of the other webinars that we've hosted, and the slides for those webinars. You are welcome, Rob. Yes, thank you, Rob. So there is Lorraine's contact information. So we will have both presentations for Lorraine and Dan. Since we had two presentations, they'll both be posted there. Our next, as Jill mentioned, this is a series that we kicked off, something new that we were doing, focusing on doing business with state agencies. We haven't done that before. We always try to think of something that will be beneficial to you as small businesses. And even though we're federal agencies, we recognize that even if you have a federal certification, you do have to expand, and you want to diversify your portfolio and do business in other areas. So great opportunity to do business with ODOT and our state agencies. So on the 8th, February 8th, Ohio Department of Corrections have confirmed that they will be participating. I'm still waiting to hear back from Ohio Department of Natural Resources. So those are the next two agencies that we have highlighted. Again, Ohio Department of Corrections, they have confirmed, still waiting to hear back from Natural Resources. Hope they will be able to. And then after that, on the 21st, doing business with the Lottery Commission and Public Safety.
Haven't heard back yet. I sent an email for that last week.
Somebody just yesterday, they responded, Jill.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. I
Okay,
forget which agency,
fantastic.
so. And I believe that's it. So please stay tuned. Leanne Brown.
What's your contract? What's your contract with them?
Leanne Brown, if you can mute yourself.
They send them and then they sent.
Thank you. All right, so I believe that is it. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. Again, thank you so much, Lorraine Stevens and Dan De Niro, for wonderful presentations today. Lots of great information. And if you're not signed up for the ODOT newsletter, if you're not signed up to do business with them, you definitely want to check them out. And hopefully there are some opportunities for you. With that said, I believe that is it for today. Please stay tuned. The next webinars, the next two webinars, next three webinars will feature state agencies. I think in March, we will circle back to the Ohio Department of Administrative Services. They will be doing a follow-up and looking at some additional things that you can do once you've gotten set up as a vendor and doing business with the state. Kind of some next steps. If you got a contract, what you need to do, that will be March 8th. So we are very looking forward to hearing more from our state agencies. That is it for today. We will have webinars all throughout this year. As Jill mentioned, we are having our Ohio Business Matchmaker. We just confirmed the dates for May 3rd and 4th. That will be in Dayton at the Nutter Center. And prior to the matchmaker, we will have a series of pre-webinars that you can also participate in. With that said, everyone, thank you for your time today. Have a great day. Stay safe. If you do have to go out in the snow, please stay safe, and hopefully you will join us next week. Not next week, on February 8th. So thank you again for your time, and everybody have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, we had a great turnout.